right, check it out. I put up this post a couple days ago about this broken headstock. It's a 60's SG special. See that dot inlay binding? And it was broken once before, and then it just broke again, and all the old glue was on both sides of the join there. And if you saw the post, you would have seen it. It was pretty ugly looking. And I was going through with a razor blade and scraping off the glue to try and get back to the original grain. Now, I didn't say it in there because I have some secrets, but then I ended up looking like an idiot because I didn't say it. But I was softening the glue. And I'll give you my little secret there. I use guitar polish, and it works really well to soften wood glue. But apparently there's some other stuff, Labinite or something, and vinegar, and warm water too. I mean, I've tried all this. I haven't tried them all. I tried the warm water. But I just go back to that one every time because it works well. As you can see, I don't know, focus here. It's such a good joint. It's almost better than some of the ones I've done that had no glue. I didn't sand it at all. It's smooth to the touch. It went back together beautifully, as if like I'm some sort of genius or something. And I never have a lot of confidence when I start these. I really think that it's just going to fail. But you know, it's just experience, 25 to 30 years of fixing guitars, you just start to get. So no cosmetics on this one. The customer didn't want it. But it is strong. And a lot of people were saying, you shouldn't be scraping that. You're going to ruin the grain. The grain's not going to match. You need to use epoxy. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that could be done, and more than one way to skin a cat. But I just have my ways of doing things. I never learned from anybody. It's all experience. It's all just me coming up with new ways, and that's kind of the fun of it, and that's what keeps me engaged. I like the fact that people have comments. That's excellent, and some of them are great. But chances of me trying something based on what somebody said on the internet is probably not the best thing. But I do take their ideas into account because the Labinite thing sounds interesting. Maybe I'll try it one of these days. Okay, so here's another thing I said. I said that this is not a design flaw because Gibsons were not made to be dropped, you know? And you can say that the Fender was made to be dropped, though I disagree. I don't think Leo Fender made a broadcast or whatever, notecaster, and kicked it over and then said, all right, we're ready. We made a guitar that you can kick over. I just think it worked out that way. And maybe the flat headstock was something that he thought would be better than a tilt back, because obviously when it falls, you hit that first, right? It doesn't really matter how much of a tilt, you're still gonna hit that first, I think. And then you got mahogany, which is brittle, and then the grain's changing angle, right? So a scarf joint, get the grain going this way, the grain going that way, probably stronger. I mean, my DePintos are all scarf joints. Asian guitars are scarf joint, that's all there is to it, By the way, the scarf joint was called the luthier's joint at one point because classical guitars had that exact shape and that exact join, and they were strong. So yes, Gibson could go to the luthier's joint, but I think if we all saw this little shape here, we would be like, no, that is cheap. That's a cheap design. Yet it's a stronger design. I don't think Gibson will ever let you see that. They'll probably never do that. It's not going to change. I'm telling you right now. And you can keep calling it a design flaw, but you could also just, be more careful. I think that's really the answer. Okay, so now you get upset at me for me telling you to be more careful. But here's the thing. I think if you grew up playing a cheap Strat copy, you got used to it going falling, and you're just picking it up and playing it. Then you're like, I got my first SG, this is great. And you lean it up against your amp here, right? And you walk by and kick the cord, boom, and the headstock's broken. And you don't want to blame yourself because you've been knocking over your Kent Strat copy or your Harmony Strat copy, and it never breaks, or even your Fender. And now you just learned a lesson that you got to take care of your Gibsons, It's like a wine glass. You can't be throwing it around, It's just a more, it's like a sculpture. This guitar is like holding a sculpture. It's like holding a vase or a wine glass, and you got to take care of it. So I broke a guitar when I was 13, it was and this was 1982 or something, 81. So I've been around a while. It was a horrible experience breaking my first left-handed guitar. It was a Hondo too, and it was brand new. I broke it like the first month because I didn't know anything about strap locks. Some good strap locks on here. And then after that, I got strap locks, and I was always careful after that. I never broke my Les Paul Custom that I got, and tons of other. I had a Dean V, I had a Dean Explorer, I had tons of tilt back mahogany necks, and I never broke them. But by the way, I have a. I'm gonna go look at them right now. I'm gonna put this guitar on its stand. I'm gonna unplug it because that's what happens. You walk into them. I got a bunch of mahogany neck tilt back guitars right here. Check this out. That's a 2020 standard. That's an 83 custom. Let's just skip the Strat. 72 custom 3 pickup SG. 72 standard 2 pickup. Here's a newer special. Here is a 65 125. Here's a 72 335. Here's a 2018 SG, and this is the only one with the broken headstock, and that is a maple neck grabber. Let's look at it. Uh-oh. Sorry to say that it has a volute as well. So the volute is not the answer. Can you see it? It's just bad lighting here, but it's broken below the volute. Let's get some better light on there. 'Cause I want you. There you go, right? But whatever. The volute is not the answer. I see too many broken volutes. Oh, also here, look, a studio. Not broken. So nothing's broken except for the grabber, or ripper, sorry. And I got a bunch of Gretches here, nothing. Guild, not broken. All right, so a very small percentage of them in this room, randomly, they're not broken. So it's not that common. And I really think nobody likes to blame themselves when they break their own guitar. It's just a horrible feeling. I get it. And you want to lash out at Gibson and say it's their fault. And I really don't think it is. I don't think you design a guitar. Now, you could design a guitar that doesn't break. And you know who did that? Dave Bunker. He made a guitar where the headstock was separate from the rest of the guitar, and the nut was brass, and the collar came all the way around the back, and the headstock came out like a sword. The truss rod came out with the headstock, so it was separated from the body, and you could drop that thing, boom, and it would just like, the truss rod went up into the neck. It was a big fat I-beam, and it went all the way through, and it came out like a sword through the sheath of the neck. Yeah, it would just bounce when you drop it. Well, Ibanez started making guitars with that, and it didn't last longer than a year, I think. So nobody wants a big brass line going in the back of their guitar, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. You know, when you make a wine glass and it's elegant and it's pretty, and it's the way we drink wine, and we don't drop it, and we're careful. And I say that's the same thing with this guitar. It's a beautiful sculpture. I just love the way the cuts are. The old ones have thin cuts here on the points. This one's finished, but it still has that beautiful shape to it. It's just, man, I design guitars, man. I love the way guitars are designed and the way they look. Back parts of these are beautiful. We just gotta be careful. That's my personal opinion. You can say design flaw all you want, but I disagree. And they do glue back together even when there's old glue in there. If you got a lot of experience, that is. And I've been doing this almost 30 years now, so this one got back together. No splines also. I see headstocks that break through splines. I don't know. The splines aren't, I mean, this is staying. The strings are not pulling it apart, so what's the spline doing? If a spline can't stop it from breaking the second time, which I've seen, they break. So I don't feel that the spline is necessary. It's a lot of extra work. I've done them. Believe me, I've done them. And I'll use it when the break is like a pencil straight across. Of course, you got to get something in there. But that had a lot of surface area here. And by the way, it broke through the tuning peg holes, not the truss rod hole, which everyone says you put a truss rod hole there, you're weakening it, but that part held, you know. It did not go through any of the truss rod area because I looked and went through the tuner peg area. All right, well, anyway, they go back together and they play beautifully. This is owned by Brian McCracken of the Sparklers, by the way. The Sparklers playing at Porch Fest on Saturday. Collingswood Porch Fest. It's a really great time. A lot of people go out to it. They had tons of people last time they played last year. So go out to that. Check out the Sparklers. And there you go. Broken headstocks that can work again.